All right, thank you. Welcome to the Town of Fort Smith regular meeting of council of September 23rd, 2025. I can confirm that we have a quorum. The mayor and council wish to acknowledge that the town of Fort Smith is located within Treaty 8 territory. Treaty 8 territory also encompasses the traditional homelands of the Salt River First Nation, Thabiti-Denisuthané Nation, and the indigenous Métis people of Fort Smith. These nations have maintained stewardship of the sacred lands and throughout the generations. We honor your knowledge, teachings, traditions, and the land, and we're mindful that colonization has not been kind. We respectfully recognize our generational histories and commit to strive for unity in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. I'm going to hand the chair over to Councillor Karshak.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Ferguson. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda. Councillor Bates.
I move that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Mayor Ferguson. Any discussion? All in favor? Passed unanimously. Delegations, I don't see any on the list. Approval of minutes from the regular council meeting of September 9th, 2025. I'm assuming everyone's had a chance to look at them. I would entertain a motion to accept them. Councillor Cox.
I'll move that the minutes of the regular meeting of September 9th, 2025 be adopted as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Corbett. Any discussion? Errors or omissions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Business arising from the minutes. I'm hearing crickets. Declaration of financial interest. Okay, moving on to administration section. Community services, director's report. I'm assuming that would be you, SAO. Gonna just hit the highlights and I'll...
Absolutely, thank you very much, Councillor Corbett, or Jeepers, Councillor Karashek. No, actually I don't. Does everybody has that report there? Is there any, all I want to do is really commend the team that in the absence of a director, the team pulled this report together very, very nicely. And the entire team, in the absence of director and an aquatics coordinator, have stepped right up and spread out all those duties. We also have an absence in our rec department right now due to medical reasons, and again, the rest of the team stepped forward and took over that. So huge kudos to the team over at the community services team over there and here for stepping in and really keeping things going. So.
I know, thank you. I know that our new director is starting the beginning of October. Has any word on the start date for our new aquatics?
Yeah, actually, our aquatics coordinator will be starting, I know this, September 26th, when he's going to jump right into training.
Okay.
We're bringing in a trainer, and that trainer will also do some training directly on pool management as well.
Any other questions, comments? Councillor Corbett?
Thank you, Councillor Karashek. Just wanted to make note, I think the town staff did a fantastic job of supporting a rush of festivals in the month of August. I think it was, I think a bit trying on our volunteer base throughout the community with so many festivals and also trying on people. It was just festival after festival after festival. And I would really encourage either the town or the town could encourage the Thabati Leadership Council to sometime this fall make an effort to try and pull all the volunteer groups together to discuss, sort of trying to schedule them much more in advance rather than trying to have festivals and activities scheduled in May and June. It's getting a little late into the season, and I think just a coordinated approach would really help with being able to recruit volunteers by the various organizations. I know I was involved with 2 of them, and by the end of the second one, there was challenges. People were just unable to volunteer because they were preparing to work at the next festival as well. So we need to, I think, just appreciate that we do rely on a significant volunteer base, and that trying to push 3 festivals in 3 weeks was an impractical idea, and I sort of have to take a bit of ownership of that myself, but I think we need to sit down as a community and plan it out a bit better this fall.
Thank you for your comments. Any further questions? Mayor Ferguson.
No, just want to also kind of repeat the things that has been said, that the town staff did an amazing job with its help with the festivals that took place. It was only as successful because they had some really great coordinating efforts from everyone and resources there. And I'm looking forward to, I've signed up for craft night at the library, so I'm learning to crochet this Thursday. So I thought it was really good because there's a lot of, like, I'm looking always for adult activities that are in the evenings, especially coming into winter. So it's like there's a lot to do at the rec center if you want to, and they're really engaging. So right on, guys.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Any further comments or questions? Okay, moving on to the Director's Report from Municipal Services. Again, you have that sent to you in print. So if there's any questions or comments for the SAO, you can answer them. Mayor Ferguson.
Thank you. Just about the pool, are we working at not full capacity with the part that's not there for the roof, or for the? Have we always been waiting for the same unit even after we opened, and it's still, we're managing the air fine?
SAO.
Yeah, no, actually, thank you, Mayor Ferguson, for that question. Yes, actually, we've been managing, the biggest issues have always been in the winter with that, where you either have it full blast or then it gets too cold, or you turn it off and then ice will form. So we've always had problems managing that. A really good positive is that the part is on its way. We have confirmed that with the suppliers, so within the next few weeks we should have that part and it should be getting installed, and it should not impact operations when it's being installed.
Any further comments or questions? Councillor Cox.
Thanks. I guess just, on that, and you might not know off the top of your head, but any idea if we've ordered spares, or if spares are available, or if anything, fingers crossed, maybe the power might be a little better now? I don't know, just, it's my biggest worry is that the power will pull more of these.
SAO.
No, but good question, and I don't know the answer to that, but I will follow up, and if they haven't, I may, depending on the cost of the unit, I may see about ordering, having an air and a spare per se, but I will follow up on that one.
Deputy Mayor Keeson.
It's just reading through the update there, Carl. The surge protector that's on its way isn't that part of maintaining, hopefully not blowing the new one?
It's been surging and brownouts are 2 different things.
Okay, oh yeah, there is that. You're right. Yeah.
And Mayor Ferguson, your comments?
I was going to say that with the surge protection's on route, so I just thought that would cover that.
Okay, anything else under the Municipal Director's Report? Moving,
Actually, there's
Deputy Mayor Keeson.
reading we passed a motion, I think a couple of meetings back, about turning on the sewer system for Salt River. I see that they've got a concern mentioned in the report here. Any update from the SAO on where we're going with that? Has it been fixed? Do we know what the problem is?
SAO.
Actually, I believe the question today was they're still trying to, we actually met with the CEO for Salt River First Nation today, and we did ask, and they're still looking into that and still trying to address that issue.
Okay, it was disappointing to see.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to briefing notes. We have one DPA 044-25. I'm assuming that's why the Director of Protective Services is here with regards to CAP construction.
So I'll move that DPA 04425 submitted by CAP Construction for the pouring of footings for the proposed development at 90 Portage Street be granted conditional approval subject to proof of adequate parking, submission of required engineering and drainage plans, and approval of final building drawings of the Office of the Fire Marshal, with no further construction permitted until final development permit is issued.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Corbett. Discussion. Councillor Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just be wondering, like, we are going to be issuing, or per se, pending the vote, a conditional permission for them to proceed with pouring of footings and things. Now, if for some reason in the future they're unable to continue with construction of this building, would they be required to return the property back to its original condition, or would the footings remain?
SAO.
I will defer this to Director McNabb, but I am gonna suggest it's probably the same as any development permit that we would issue. If for any reason they ran out of funding and couldn't continue, it would be the same condition, but I will, sorry.
Director McNabb.
Yeah, what SAO Thomas just said, essentially if you have a conditional permit and you cannot meet the conditions, it's just like any other permit, should it expire or you not be able to complete the work, ultimately a stop work order and an order to remediate would be put in place, which would require the property to be returned back to an undeveloped state.
Deputy Mayor Keeson.
So looking at this briefing note, we're being asked to either do A or B option and then a whole bunch of other sub-criteria, 2 to 5. Are you gonna speak to any of those, Director, just to give us more than here, or? Because I'd like to hear what you got to say.
Director McNabb.
Yeah, thank you. So I can just give a quick overview. I'm happy to do that. So ultimately, the contractor is requesting a conditional permit or the ability to move forward with work without actually satisfying the basic requirements of a development permit application. The issues at hand primarily are that there's no actual drawing of the building. All we've been given is a footprint of the building. The footprint of the building, after review and some back and forth, ultimately is not going to allow for adequate parking based on our zoning bylaws. Our zoning bylaw, when we do the basic calculations for that square footage, requires 30 spaces. There's no physical way to put 30 spaces on the property given the positioning of the building. Right now there are 25 spaces available. So this conditional approval, we've granted a temporary pre-conditional approval at this point. Again, just to try and work with applicants. We're never trying to stop development. We're trying to help developers, but we've granted a short-term conditional approval prior to this for forms to be placed because that's not permanent. So I felt like, and working with our development officer, that's a reasonable approach to allow the contractor to move forward while we wait for this discussion. So forms are being placed. This is seeking approval for the footings, which is a lot more permanent. So again, I wanted this table to weigh in on that, and then the conditions are proof of adequate parking. So there's some options for how to prove adequate parking, and it's either through a lease agreement, sale, or other mechanism showing that CAP Construction is able to retain exclusive access in perpetuity to property. So right now there's the potential that this building could access parking currently used adjacent to it by the federal building. That property has no lease. This is private title land, and the private title owner is hoping to enjoy the benefit of that parking, and that's great. But if there's no actual agreement in place, and an agreement that goes forward forever, this property could change hands and now there's not enough parking for that building and there's no agreement, no sale, no long-term lease for these extra spots that may or may not be created. So we're looking for proof of that. And whether that's on-site, off-site, or, so the other option, the or for parking, and I've put this quote to the developer and haven't heard a response back, but the or would be submitting an expression of interest to the town of Fort Smith. Again, it would be at the discretion of mayor and council, but for the potential to backfill the ditch in front of this building and put in parallel parking with curb and gutter along that frontage. Myself and Director Grenier went to the site and had a look. It is feasible, it's possible. Again, it would require mayor and council's approval and consideration and a willingness from the contractor to ultimately do that work. But it's another option that we're trying to present, again, to create some ways forward. And so those are kind of the or pieces. So it's either secure property for those 5 spots one way or another, or come to the town with a proposal to create that on-street parallel parking. And then the next 4 items, we do require engineered drawings of the building, including floor plans and elevations, which is a normal requirement to the development permit. We do require some form of drainage plan for the site, showing where water will be captured and diverted. And there's actually some water diversion issues historically in that area, so that's of particular interest. Review of drawings by the Office of the Fire Marshal. Again, because we are considering approval of a footprint of a building with no drawings, those drawings have not been submitted to the Office of the Fire Marshal. The Office of the Fire Marshal may come back with some changes. So just to be clear, the Office of the Fire Marshal may make amendments that change that footprint. I don't know. But just noting that the outcome of that review may impact the work currently being done and is at the developer's risk, because ultimately they're putting in footprints without a plan being drawn, produced, and sent to the Office of the Fire Marshal. And then no additional construction beyond footings may proceed until full compliance is demonstrated and the final development permit is issued, once all of those other criteria have been met. So the criteria set forward for the conditional approval are the standard criteria set forward for any development, and ultimately those would be the conditions of this approval. And then once all of that information is into us, I would bring it back to council again for approval of the remainder of the development permit for construction. If that makes it any clearer.
Deputy Mayor Keezer?
So I'm gonna just ask off the top of my head, is it fairly normal practice to have a floor plan but not a building plan? Like, is that a normal development thing you've seen in the past?
Director McCall.
This is new territory for me. I am surprised that a footprint and footings could be poured with no engineered drawings for a building.
So am I.
Any further questions or comments? Councillor Cox.
Yes, just a question. It says that the proposed use of the property is a Parks Canada office building. I've had some unofficial conversations with some Parks folks, and they have no idea what's going on. So part of my concern is, I mean, I know that the intended purpose of a building can change over time, but if we don't know what the building's going to be used for, do we know if parking is a good fit, and we can have, if it's going to be just a general office space for staff, maybe we can get, especially park staff, potentially there's going to be not as many people driving, people will be biking or walking, so maybe we don't need as many park lots. But if it turns into something else, then, you know, if it turns into a visitor center, then all of a sudden you need RV parking and accommodation for bigger vehicles. Mm-hmm. Which complicates things. So I just, I don't know. It seems like there's not enough information, potentially.
Director McCall.
I agree, and I would imagine that the visitor experience portion of Parks Canada would also be moving. So whether or not the town of Fort Smith continues to have its tourist information there, I would imagine there would still be some visitors coming through that area. But I would also like this group to consider that there's a lot of staff vehicles, like not staff personal vehicles, but parks vehicles, fleet vehicles, that's the name, that would also have to live in that parking lot. So, and I count the number in behind the federal building right now, I think it would almost fill up the 25 spots. Mike might know how many fleet vehicles there are on a given day.
Don't know that.
There are several, so
There
I
are
mean, that's
several.
another consideration.
Councillor Cox.
And I guess that's, I don't know if we're getting into the weeds, and it's probably not up to us to decide who goes where, whatever, and how they do things, but just in terms of square footage, and looking at this, my guess is that there's substantially less square footage here than there would be in, say, the federal building, what they currently have. So I would assume that if not everybody would be going over there. I'm guessing. I don't know what it would look like. And again, I don't know that it's up to us to care just whether or not. If there's not parking spaces, yes or no. But that's what goes through my head in it.
Councillor Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the main concern I had was if this doesn't move forward as the contractor plans, that the site won't be left as an unsightly mess, and Director McNabb has assured me that the current processes would ensure that the land would be remediated should construction not go ahead. So I think I would be supportive of the conditional approval so that the contractor can actually move forward with construction on, I'm assuming, a fairly tight timeline, and if they probably have reasons for wanting to pour the concrete this fall. So I think I would be supportive of it. Just if new development in town and potential a lot with a nice big building on it generates more tax revenue for us than an empty lot does. How they use it is not up to us.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Unanimous, carried. Second briefing note with regards to the Housing Accelerator Fund. Entertain a motion for that. Councillor Green.
I move that council approve refunding all development fees collected since January 1st, 2025, and waiving the development fees for the remainder of the Housing Accelerator Fund program, with costs recovered through half funding, and direct administration to incorporate a cost recovery fee model in the rates and fees bylaw review.
Seconder, Councillor Corbett. Discussion? Councillor Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to propose a slight amendment to this motion, that we make it clear, crystal clear, that development fees would be only related to projects under the half funding. When I just have this fear, when we say all development fees, that somebody's going to come forward and say, well, I paid development fees for putting these footings in, for example.
Would you be open to that amendment?
I am.
We'll just wait. I just maybe SEO.
SAO?
One of our requirements on the HAF program is just to streamline the development fee structure as it is. And we are not gonna meet that timeline this year just because we're a little delayed moving forward on that part of it. And so there was no specific within it. And when we're capturing data on development fees that are issued, HAP wants all the data. It's not just about new builds, it's about all of it. So I think this encompasses all development fees, all related development fees. And that's what, like, when we come forward with a new development fee structure, it's not just for new units, we're gonna look at all of the cost recovery mechanism within that. So I think this would be an all-encompassing development fees, not just specific to the new units.
Okay, well, let's, do you have a comment or do you want to vote on the amendment?
Comment.
Councillor
Yeah,
Goulet?
it's just, I'm hoping that over the period of January 1st, 2025 to date, that we have issued other development permits for possibly for commercial or industrial, and I don't know if those would be, I just want to be absolutely certain that we're clear that this would only be for residential units that would be applicable to the HAF program. That other development permits that we issue for other things, like either industrial, commercial, we're not going to be refunding those fees.
Councillor Bean?
But I think that's what we're saying, is that the program is covering all development fees, not just housing fees. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's our requirement under the project is to revisit our development fee model across the board. It's not just specific to that. But if council wants to make it specific to residential builds, it doesn't bother me, it'll just be a different number.
Mayor Ferguson?
So this 19,000, the 19,000 that you've said in here, that's all of our development fees since January 1st.
Yes.
Commercial, all of them. And HAF funding is covering all development fees.
Yes.
Correct. So I would be in favor of, as this stands and as it's stated, because it's encouraging development and things happening in our community. I don't think we should just limit it unless our funding changes and how they want us to report it changes. Then we can look at that. But if we are getting all of our development fees covered, people should benefit from that, and it would encourage development in our community. So I think this, as it's read originally, does not need amendment, and we should just approve it as it states.
Just to add a little bit of clarification, I did run this by our HAF project administrator at CMHC already and walked her through it. And during our last round of reporting, when I produced a report that had only our new build units, she said, no, actually, we want to see all of it, everything that's happening in there. It's part of all the data we're collecting. So just to reassure you, I have already run it through by the project.
Councillor Cox.
Thanks. I certainly get Mike's concern, and my initial thought is to argue that as well, but like I say, if the HAF people are happy with paying for everything, and you're just moving stuff from one pot to another, that's a benefit to the developers in town. Like I say, it does also help promote development. The more development we have, the more capacity we have, the more tradespeople getting certifications and stuff. So I think I'm okay with it as long as it's clear that it's a one-time program and that those development fees will be coming back when it's back on our dime. So, yeah.
Councillor Goulet, are you willing to withdraw your amendment?
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is as originally stated. Any further comments or discussions? I'll call the question. All in favor? Unanimous. Passed unanimous. Okay, next briefing note is an update with regards to the Métis land swap proposal.
Do I have to excuse myself because I'm an employee of the Métis?
No, we do that.
Yeah, are you going to benefit from this financially?
No.
No, then no. Can I get someone to propose the motion?
Okay.
Mayor Ferguson?
I move that council direct administration to advise the Fort Smith Métis Council that based on water and sewer assessment confirming no need for additional land, the town will not proceed with the proposed land trade.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Cox. Discussion or questions? Mayor Ferguson.
So I know that I know that when we had our land, or our water sewer assessment out, this was one of the asks in for potential growth if we were ever to expand to things like Bordertown, Smith Landing, or other developments. And the assessment did cover if we were gonna accept more subdivisions, it would be able to produce enough water with what we have there. That's what this assessment states.
SAO.
My apologies, I did miss a little bit of that one. Could you repeat that, please?
Just that, I know originally that when this proposed land swap was talked about, it was because of future development and growth for the need on what we can provide for fresh water. Like as if Smith Landing, we started producing for them, like plumbed and trucked, or plumbed, like lined out, or more growth in the Salt River First Nation development, or maybe like if we were to grow substantially, that we would need more reservoirs to support the water demand on our system. So this needs assessment, the sewer and water needs assessment did say that we will not need more reservoirs to support that growth and development.
SAO.
No, what it said was that if we did need it in the future, we have more than sufficient footprint right beside our water plant already, but it doesn't actually project. It actually, a lot of the recommendations, and again, only at a high level meeting about sort of the high level findings, is that upgrading the technology within our water plant itself would actually increase our capacity, but that they don't foresee requiring additional reservoirs. Sorry.
SAO.
May I add, so within the briefing note, and Director McNabb pointed it out, that we missed transferring over the second part of the recommendation that's on the briefing note, and it just says, and that administration conveys council's appreciation for the cooperative discussions to date and its commitment to working with Fort Smith Métis Council on future opportunities of mutual benefit. And we may want to add that, or did we just want to assume I'll do that?
You moved it, correct? Are you okay with adding that?
I would love to add that.
Okay.
And seconder? Okay, Carl? I've got Councillor Cox, sorry. Okay. Any further comments or questions? Yes.
Did we have other land that we could be suitable for trade than what they were supposing? 'Cause this then means that they're still looking for land. Did we have something else that that we could trade with them? This land swap?
SAO.
Actually, I would like to defer that to Director McNabb if you remember some of the original conversation that we had around that.
Director McNabb.
I mean, I think that would have to be a conversation between both parties.
Sure. Okay.
Councillor Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I know this has gone with the previous council as well. We discussed this issue then, and part of the discussion back then was that the land that was talked about as part of the trade would allow the Métis to do some significant developments, including housing within, I believe, the town center area. And I'm just really hopeful that us sort of saying, well, we don't need to do a land swap, doesn't jeopardize the ability for the Fort Smith Métis to be able to still pursue that proposed development.
Any further comments or questions? Mayor Ferguson.
Could we table this till we knew if we had other land that would be suitable? Because the land that this we're talking about isn't really good developable land, right? That like where next to the water treatment facility is like, you know, it's low level land. It's not going to be good for houses. It's not going to be good for development. It would be great for a pond, right? Like that's probably where this conversation originally came from. And it's not, and that's Métis land, right? And they're like, you know, we can't really do much with that land. So what if we should look at knowing what is available for potential little because we want development and they want development. So how, maybe we should table this till we knew what we could maybe suppose a different land swap?
Councillor Cox?
Go, you're-
Okay.
I was just gonna say that might be two different discussions.
Yeah.
This is not trading that one for the proposed trade, and if they wanna come to us and have further discussions, that would be a whole new separate conversation. So I just think you'd be mixing up a couple conversations.
Councillor Cox?
Took the words out of my mouth, I was just gonna say, if we're certainly pro-development, so if there's another development, I think it just has to come to us as a briefing note, and we can entertain it and have that conversation then.
Okay, any other comments or questions? So, call the question on the amended motion, all in favor? Carried unanimously. The last briefing note is about the guardrail installation on McDougall Road. It's for information purposes only. Don't need a motion, but are there any questions or comments? Mayor, Councillor Benwell.
Mayor Benwell.
Mayor Benwell.
Yeah. No, but I noticed that the guardrail is gone from there and that this nice big sign is put up. Is that what it's gonna be like now?
Yes,
Is that the final?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to council business, bylaws and policies. The excluded employee employment bylaw, 1064 is coming up for first reading. I'd entertain a motion. Councillor Baith.
I move that bylaw number 1064, the excluded employee employment bylaw, be introduced and given first reading.
Is there a seconder? Deputy Mayor Kieser. Discussion or questions?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Any questions or comments?
Siri, do you have any questions?
Startled me.
Started all of us.
Councillor Quebec.
Just as, I don't know if it's point of order is, typically as part of the first reading of the bylaw, we should be including the whereases and the, up to the point where it says short title.
SAO, comment on that? Do you need to say that?
Actually, I would have been happy if the mayor could address that one. I actually did do some research on that, reached out to other communities, read the CTD Act, our procedural bylaw, as well as reached out to MACA, and bylaws do not require the full reading to be read in, even at the first reading. So it can be read in by name only from the first. It must be made public. It must be, all of those steps, but it does not require the full reading of it.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. I don't think there's any appointments. Council and Mayor, business or comments, and I'm going to start to my left with Councillor Bay.
Right on. Yeah, I was been away for a fair bit in the last month or so, but one of the things that kind of, as we heard over the last little while, is just the amount of festivals, and it's just really cool to see, all the, both from the side of like the town and the involvement of staff in supporting the festivals and all the events that we have here in the community, but as well, we've heard about all the volunteers that kind of make it happen. So I think if anybody should get kudos, it's those two groups. So just really appreciative of making the community a vibrant place.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Kieser.
Nothing specific to add other than the carnival was seeming to be a big hit. We went out and checked it out with the community, and I had lots of young people come up and talk to me about how much fun they were having. So I hope Fort Smith enjoyed that opportunity. But otherwise, no, I've nothing new to add to what we're up to right now.
Mayor Ferguson.
Yeah, thanks. So last week I met with the CEO of the hospital and went over some issues. One was being the safe room and the update from the hospital is they're waiting on infrastructure. It's still a year away, and there's no sign of improvement on that. I think every time I ask them about it, it's always a year away. It's really in the hands of infrastructure and their how they do maintenance on their buildings in our community, which is really putting a strain on our community policing and mental health and all the things that we have here. So I think we as a group should shake infrastructure with a heavy worded letter, which I'll probably send to you guys pretty soon here. But good news from the hospital is they have two locums, new locums. One is like a dual service one, so they're like take your blood and x-ray, and then we have an x-ray. And hopefully they're gonna fall in love with our community, and then they're gonna be offered indeterminate positions here. So then we'd have those people here. So that's good news, bad news from the hospital. Last week there was the TLE celebration at Salt River First Nation. I think it was really well done, well received. It was a really good, we had our premier here, our MLA, housing representatives. There was all sorts of folks here come to join in the celebration of opening these homes, and I got to sit with the premier and choose ear for the whole time, so it was awesome. Hopefully we get something from that. TLC, last week we met. There was some of us here who had the dinner with the other, all of leadership met. So Métis and their council with Febeded Dennis Lithuania Council and Salt River First Nation and their council. We all met as a group together collectively to talk about TLC and promoted it and its future and what does that look like and everyone's commitment to it, and everyone seemed very committed to it. And so I'll be bringing that back to you guys because there is actually a financial component to that if we move forward, keeping TLC together. So, which I think it has its advantages. I mean, we're doing really good work with advocating for our Royal College and our needs here, the NTPC and here. We're talking about RCMP and bringing all the Justice Minister and the folks down here to sit in here in our community and say, hey, what the heck's going on, guys? And so we can have our voice heard. So I think TLC is a really good thing to keep going. I also then forwarded all the emails about our second draft for our zoning bylaw to all the leaders in the community and their administrative staff. So everyone has now another copy, another set of eyes on that document along with us. So hopefully we'll get some feedback from that. And just a reminder that, on September 30th is National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. And if there's a community event going on, go out, talk to an elder, support the survivors of residential schools, and maybe learn something from someone in the community that you might not have known prior. So that's all I really have. And the dates of our next regular meetings will be October 7th at 7 p.m. and that's for Community and Municipal. And October 21st is Protective and Corporate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Cox.
Thank you. The mayor stole almost everything on my list. So I do know Aurora College has a fairly busy schedule for TRC stuff going on, which is great. So I'm sure there's lots going on everywhere else. So it's going to be good to get out and take part in that. I guess the other thing worth mentioning and reminding people is even driving in today to the meeting, you see a healthy smoke cloud of the hay campfire. First, not really a concern for us as a community right now, but I think it's a really healthy reminder that spring is around the corner. As much as we, some people would like to say that, but now is an ideal time to be doing the fire smart. I mean, even I was out cutting the grass around buildings and stuff right now, getting rid of everything, because before we know it, it's going to be spring and it's going to be dry, and that's stuff that we want to get done in the fall won't be done. So now is a great time to get out and do so. Yeah, good to do. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Corbett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just going to pick up on a topic that the mayor mentioned, which is September 30th, which is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. But I think we should also acknowledge that the effort that the PWK High School is doing this week to celebrate the Truth and Reconciliation Week. They had an impressive lineup of activities, and I would encourage the community to join in on that. Now picking up on the comment from Councillor Cox regarding smoke. I noticed on the radio over the last, or not radio, the cabin radio and CBC North over the last 2 days, forestries had to go out and fight 2 grass fires, one just outside of Providence and one near Hay River, which really emphasizes that we're still in fire season, so people need to be aware grasses will burn, you have a campfire, and you still have to make sure that it's properly put out. Until the snow's on the ground, I think we have to realize that we are still in a significant drought situation and things will catch fire extremely quickly. So just please be very careful while you're out using the land.
Thank you. Councillor Benoit.
Thank you. Yeah, with the Truth and Reconciliation Day on the 30th, we do have something planned between Fort Smith and Salt River First Nation, which is a walk from the rec center to the lookout, and then we're going to have our feeding of the fire and do Manic on a Stick and have some speeches. Yeah, so if you want to join us, you're more than welcome.
What time does that start? Do you know?
At 1 o'clock.
Councillor Heaton.
Sure. So Uncle Gabe's Friendship Center, the lunch program is back running full steam. Lots of kids, so many registered. So always constantly looking for volunteers there. It's just a quick 30 minutes. You just gotta come and look after some kids and feed them, and but it's really a service that unfortunately serves too many children, but we'll take them and we'll make sure that they have a nice healthy meal before they go back to school in the afternoon. I was at the TLE, I made a drum. That was pretty cool, my first Denny drum up here. And then I sold bingo cards at the $10,000 bingo, so that was fun. I was also at the community garden this weekend where they dug up over 400 pounds of locally grown produce. So that was through ARI and the Aurora College. They donated it to their community partners and also the food bank, so they're very grateful for that. And then this is just a personal comment for myself that I am very proud that Canada has finally recognized the state of Palestine as a sovereign state. So, Masicho.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Heaton. I get to wrap it up. I say a lot less because everyone's off said it all. I did want to touch on a few things. Truth and Reconciliation activities. Both BWK and JBT have activities planned throughout the week, so check their websites, check their Facebook pages. On the education theme, I just want to welcome back all the college students and welcome the new staff at both PWK and JBT, especially the new principal at JBT. For those that don't follow Education Matters, already they have reintroduced a supervised lunch so kids can stay at lunch. So changes are afoot, and we want to wish all the new staff, and especially the new admin team at JBT, a very successful year. Speaking about DEA stuff, because I'm going to talk about it, they have changed their Facebook page, so they've got one that isn't owned by an individual but owned by the DEA, and also the DEA is putting together a website, so our minutes and the policies are all going to be there, so check for the link on Facebook. Speaking about infrastructural delays, the MLA is having a meeting on the 29th at his constituency office. So political pressure, it's a perfect place to maybe get a fire lit, no offense to the fire smarting, in terms of getting that safe room up and running. And again, speaking about health-related issues, just curious if anyone else had read that article about that town. I think it was in BC, was faced with doctor shortages, and they decided to hire doctors as town employees. And people were saying, well, you don't have the authority. Well, no, we're hiring them. We'll give them sick days. We'll give them vacation time. We will build back the
pension plan.
Yeah, we'll give them pension. We'll build back the provincial authority that pays, and we'll get that money, but they paid the salary and they did that. So it's just food for thought to keep in the back of our mind, thinking outside of the box. I found that really interesting. Seniors, another hat that I wear, is having an elders abuse awareness workshop on October 4th.
Elder abuse prevention.
Elder abuse prevention workshop, well, awareness and prevention. And that's from 3:30 till 5:30, correct? In the seniors room in the rec center. And my last little bit of business is to call for a chair for the next meeting. Any volunteers?
I'll do it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Heaton. Right on. So, and that is that. In camera is our next item of business.
So I move that we move in camera as per section of the CTV Act 2003, section 23, 3F for matters under consideration.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Councillor Babe. All in favor? Okay, we are in camera. Are we off the air? Oh, Councillor Cox.
Do we wanna cover the date?
I read it.
Oh, you
I
did?
said it out again.
Daniel, we're off.
Should we do
No.
excusing the counselor before we?
Oh, too late.
Yeah, we'll do it when we come back, 'cause we have to adjourn anyway.
We'll let that